Isohydral method is used to determine evaporation, evapotranspiration, seepage loss, and precipitation and intensity of flood. The isohydral method is used for the precipitation. Concept method is used to convert point rainfall value at different rain gauge station into a average value over a catchment area. Arithmetical mean method, thesis, polygon method, and isohydral method. The arithmetical means method is very crude method and it is rarely used. Thesian polygon method is superior to the arithmetic average methods as some weightage is given to the various stations on rational basis. The isohydral method is considered as the best method as compared to the other above two. Isohydrates. It is the line joining points of equal rainfall for a given interval. Isohydrates are contour of equal precipitation analogous to the contour line on topographic map. In the isohydral method, precipitation values are plotted at their respective station on suitable base map, and isohydrates are drawn to a great isohydrate map. The theory of unit hydrograph was proposed by the L.K. Sherman. Next, the theory of unit hydrograph was developed by the Leroy K. Sherman in the year of 1932. A unit hydrograph is a direct runoff hydrograph resulting from one unit of constant intensity uniform rainfall occurring over the entire watershed 1 inch और 1 सेंटीमीटर में. Assumptions in the unit hydrograph theory के बारे में बताते हैं. Unit hydrograph theory के assumptions है time invariance and linear response. Time invariance का मतलब है this implies that the direct runoff hydrograph for a given effective rainfall ER in a catchment is time invariant is that it is always the same respective when it occur. लीनियर रिस्पॉन्स की बात करते हैं. द डायरेक्ट रन ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स टू द रेनफॉल एक्सेस इज अज्यूम्ड टू बी लीनियर is that any change in input value is linearly reflected in the output value. The Rabi formula to determine the design discharge from catchment is given by a constant depending upon nature of catchment and location. C. Catchment area in square kilometer is a तो ये हो जाएगा C इंटू ए की पावर 2/3. That is the Rabi formula. Determine for discharge from catchment is given by Rabi's मेथड के बारे में बात करते हैं. दिस फॉर्मूला यूज्ड इन ए साउथर्न इंडिया. ये होता है QP इज इक्वल्स टू CR इंटू ए की पावर 2/3. दैट इज रेविस फॉर्मूला. रेशनल मेथड्स की बात करें जो एडिशनल हैं. दिस मेथड इज बेस्ड ऑन द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन रेनफॉल एंड रन ऑफ. Hence, it can be considered to be similar to the empirical methods. That is, QP is equals to 1/36 into K into PC into A1. डेकियन मेथड होता है QP is equals to CDA की पावर 3/4. It was earlier adapted in northern India, but it can be used in most of the state in India after proper modification of the constant. Deccan methods अभी पढ़ाई था. It was earlier adapted in northern India के अंदर Deccan method, but now it can be used in most of the state in India after proper modification of the constant. QP is equals to CD into A की पावर 3/4. This formula used only in Maharashtra. Here, three different cases taken into consideration. QP is equals to 124a divided by under root a plus 10.4 nearly equals to the 123 under root a. QP is the peak discharge in meter cube per second. A is the area in kilometer. The term base flow denotes the delayed groundwater flow reaching a stream. Delayed groundwater reaching in a stream. बेस फ्लो की बात करते हैं. बेस फ्लो इज ए डिलेड फ्लो दैट रीच ए स्ट्रीम एसेंशियल एज ग्राउंड वाटर. In annual hydrograph, the base flow is easily recognized as the slowly decreasing flow of the stream is a rainless period. In other words, this is the flow that would exist in the stream without the contributions of direct runoff from the rainfall. Estimation of base flow and direct runoff is useful to understand the hydrology of watersheds, including the interactions of the surface and subsurface water, the role of urbanization on runoff generation, and the health of aquatic habitat within streams. इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट की बात करें तो मेथड्स ऑफ बेस फ्लो सेपरेशन की बात करें. मेनली फॉलोइंग थ्री मेथड्स आर यूज्ड फॉर द बेस फ्लो सेपरेशन: स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड, फिक्स्ड बेस मेथड एंड वेरिएबल स्लोप मेथड. फिक्स्ड बेस मेथड एंड स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड. नेक्स्ट बात करते हैं. द मेथड इज यूज फॉर द एस्टिमेटिंग मिसिंग रेनफॉल, that is normal ratio method. Normal ratio method is used for the estimating the missing rainfall. Estimation of missing rainfall data. Arithmetic mean method. It is used if the normal annual precipitation of nearly stations is 10% of within the normal annual precipitation at a station X. Px is equals to P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus Pn divided by n. Normal ratio method, that is arithmetical method, it is used if normal precipitation at any selected station differ by more than 10% for selected station. तो ये इसका फॉर्मूला होता है. क्या होता है? nx डिवाइड बाई एन एन की पावर p1 बाई n1 plus p2 by n2 plus pn upon nn, where p1, p2, pn are respective annual precipitation for different station. n1, n2, nn are the respective average annual normal precipitation for different station. Next बात करते हैं. The rainfall, the rate of rainfall above which the rainfall volume equal to the runoff volume is called phi index. The rate of rainfall above which the rainfall volume equal to the runoff volume is called phi index. Phi index is equals to होता P minus R divided by T. R is the runoff in M. It is defined as the part of water cycle that flow over land as surface water instead of being absorbed into the groundwater or evaporated. The runoff is the part of the precipitation that appear in uncontrolled surface stream, river drains or sewers. P is the precipitation. It is any liquid or frozen water that form in the atmosphere and fall back into the earth. The precipitation is any product of the condensations of the atmospheric water vapor that fall under gravity from the clouds. The main form of precipitation include drizzles, rain, steel, snow, ice pellet, ग्रूपल एंड हेल्स. इन्फिल्ट्रेशन कैपेसिटी की बात करें, इट इज़ द रेट एट विच द वाटर इन्फिल्ट्रेशन इनटू द ग्राउंड इज कॉल्ड इन्फिल्ट्रेशन कैपेसिटी. फॉर कंसिस्टेंसी इन द हाइड्रोलॉजिकल कैलकुलेशंस ए कांस्टेंट वैल्यू ऑफ इन्फिल्ट्रेशन रेट फॉर द इंटायर स्टॉर्म ड्यूरेशन इज अडॉप्टेड. The average infiltration rate is called infiltration index, and two types of infiltration index commonly used. फर्स्ट आता phi index, दूसरा आता W index. It is defined as the ratio of rate of infiltration above which volume equal to the runoff volume. It is the average infiltration rate during the time when the rainfall intensity exceeds the infiltration rate. W index. It is the average infiltration rate during the time when the rainfall intensities exceed an infiltration rate. नेक्स्ट बात करते हैं, if 2-hour unit hydrograph are staggered by the 2 hours and added generally, the resulting hydrograph will be 4-hour unit hydrograph with 2 centimeter runoff, क्योंकि 112 हो जाएगा और 2 hour 4 hours हो जाएगा। बात करते हैं यूनिट हाइड्रोग्राफ की। इट इज़ द DRH रिजल्टिंग फ्रॉम 1 यूनिट डेप्थ ऑफ रेनफॉल एक्सेस डायरेक्ट रन ऑफ अकरिंग यूनिफॉर्मली over the basin at the uniform rate of the specified duration t hours. The theory of unit hydrograph was developed by the Sherman in the year of 1932, and assumptions are given the below. The time invariance. According to these assumptions, DRH for the given effective rainfall is always the same in the catchment irrespective of the time when the rainfall or storm takes place. Linear response. This is the single most important assumption in the theory of unit hydrograph. According to the assumptions, any change in the input value is proportionate reflected in the output value. Two hours UH staggered by 2 hours, 2 hours UH runoff 1 plus 1 2 centimeter time 2 hours plus 2 hours 4 hours, दोनों के बीच वेरिएंस 2 आवर्स का 1 सेंटीमीटर। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट आता है, हाउ मैनी एडिशनल रेन गेज आर रिक्वायर्ड इन कैचमेंट इफ द एरर अलाउड in the estimation of mean rainfall is to be reduced by the half than the present one. How many additional rain gauges are required in catchment if the error allowed in estimation of mean rainfall is to be reduced by the half than present one? इसमें आएगा, देख लेते हैं, इसको सॉल्व कर लेते हैं। ऑप्टिमम नंबर ऑफ रेन गेज कितना होता है? ऑप्टिमम नंबर ऑफ रेन गेज तो n इज इक्वल्स टू CB बाई एप्सिलॉन पावर स्क्वायर, जो भी ये होता है 0.5 एप्सिलॉन डैश। सो n इज इक्वल्स टू होता है CB डिवाइड बाई 0.5 एप्सिलॉन की पावर स्क्वायर। ये नीचे आ जाएगा 4CB एप्सिलॉन की पावर स्क्वायर। देन एडिशनल रेन गेज n माइनस n, सो ये हो जाएगा 4CB एप्सिलॉन की पावर स्क्वायर माइनस 1CB की पावर एप्सिलॉन की पावर स्क्वायर। इसमें से एक जाएगा तो ये बचेगा 3CB एप्सिलॉन की पावर स्क्वायर, तो ये हो जाएगा 3 टाइम। ठीक है, तो ये वो हो जाएगा इसको 3n। सो एडिशनल रेन गेज आर रिक्वायर्ड इन कैचमेंट थ्राइस द प्रेजेंट नंबर, थ्राइस द प्रेजेंट नंबर, ये आएगा इसमें। कंसेप्ट देख लेते हैं इसका। ऑप्टिमम नंबर ऑफ रेन गेज क्या होता है? n बराबर CB बाई एप्सिलॉन। ये जो CB होता है कोफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन होता है, ये जो होता है एरर परसेंटेज होता है। कोफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन इज गिवन बाय द CB इज इक्वल्स टू सिग्मा n माइनस 1 डिवाइड बाई P बार, तो ये होता है एवरेज रेनफॉल और ये होता है स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन। नेक्स्ट चलते हैं। रेन गेज रिकॉर्ड आवरली रेनफॉल एज 5 सेंटीमीटर 2 सेंटीमीटर 4 सेंटीमीटर एंड 3 सेंटीमीटर फॉर ए 4 hour storm respectively. If the phi index was 3 centimeter per hour, the total direct runoff from the catchments for a storm was कितना होगा देख लेते हैं। तो ए रेन गेज रिकॉर्ड आवरली रेन गेज इज कितना है? ए रेन गेज रिकॉर्ड आवरली रेनफॉल कितना? 5 सेंटीमीटर 2 सेंटीमीटर 4 सेंटीमीटर एंड 3 सेंटीमीटर। कितने आवर्स के लिए? 4 आवर्स के लिए। और फाई इंडेक्स कितना दे रखा है 3 सेंटीमीटर पर आवर्स. So intensity of rainfall for second and third hours is 2 centimeter and 3 सेंटीमीटर. सो बात करते हैं. So 3 centimeter per hour which is less than equal to the phi index respectively. So it is not required to consider those amount of rainfall during phi index. So इसको हम कैलकुलेट करते हैं. So total precipitation कितना है 5 plus 4 is equals to 9 centimeter. That is the total precipitation. T जो होता है वो क्या होता है, वो होता है इफेक्टिव टाइम ड्यूरेशन इन विच रेनफॉल इंटेंसिटी इज ग्रेटर देन 5 और 5 इंडेक्स कितना 2 आवर्स. सो 3 इज इक्वल्स टू 9 माइनस आर डिवाइड बाई 2. सो आर इज इक्वल्स टू 9 माइनस 6 इज इक्वल्स टू 3 सेंटीमीटर. ठीक है, कंसेप्ट समझ लेते हैं. इन्फिल्ट्रेशन इज द मूवमेंट ऑफ वाटर थ्रू सोइल. इट इज़ द प्रोसेस बाय विच वाटर एंटर इनटू द सरफेस स्टार्ट ऑफ द सोइल टू मीट इनिशियल सोइल मॉइस्चर डेफिशिएंसी. Infiltration index is methods used for measurement of infiltration. It is represent average rate of infiltration. These are two types of infiltration index. First आता है phi index, दूसरा आता है W index. Phi index it is represent the average infiltration rate during the period of rainfall excess. It is the calculation of phi index. Initial losses is also considered as infiltration quantity. W index this is the average infiltration rate during the entire whole periods of the storm. In the calculation of W index, initial loss is separated from the total infiltration. Phi index is greater than or equal to the W index. If a certain duration T, the rainfall is P, runoff is Q, initial losses is I, then W index is given by W बराबर P minus Q minus L by T. Phi index बराबर P minus R divided by T. Here T is the effective time duration in which rainfall intensity is greater than phi index. When intensity of rainfall is less than or equal to phi index, then there will be no runoff. Drainage density is the sum of length of a stream per unit drainage area within the basin. Drainage density is defined as the sum of length of all stream divided by the catchment area. Drainage density is the total length of channel divided by the catchment area. Factor affecting the hydrograph. The shape of catchment. Hydrograph from a catchment with a broader end and near the outlet has higher and early peak. Compactness factors. It is defined as the ratio of perimeters of the catchment to the perimeter of form of circle. Form circle is the circle having the same area as that of the catchments. As the compactness factor decrease, average length of travel to the outlet decrease, hence decreasing in infiltration and increasing in resultant discharge. Catchment slope. In general, as the slope catchment increase, the flow velocity increases, thereby decreasing in the infiltration and decreasing in the base periods and increasing the runoff discharge. For a small catchment, when the overland flow is more dominant and generally land slope play more important roles, whereas the large catchment where the channel flow is more dominant, mainstream slope play more important roles. Drainage density की बात करें तो it is defined as the sum of length of all stream divided by the catchment area. In general, as drainage density increase, the flow velocity increases, infiltration decreases, base period decreases, and peak discharge are increases. Land uses की बात करें तो urbanization reduce infiltration by increased flow velocity, thereby decreasing the base periods and increasing the peak of the hydrographs. This is Coriolis force. Coriolis force play an important part in the completions of the hydrological cycle. Play an important in completions of the hydrological cycle, that is a Coriolis force. इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन समझते हैं Coriolis force का. Hydrological cycle can be defined as the continuous process of the exchange of water from the Earth's surface to the atmosphere or vice versa by the influence of solar radiation and solar heat. It is the closed system where the water gets transformed either from the one place to another or from one form to other under the action of sun heat. Key points something Coriolis force is an inertial or fictitious force that act as an object are in motion within a frame of reference that rotate with the respect to an inertial force. Sun and Coriolis force due to this force wind move in different direction play important role in completions of the hydrological unit. Sun is evaporates water and Coriolis force by the controlling wind calculates the water vapor where the precipitation is occur. Thus, the Coriolis force play an important role in the part of the completions of the hydrological units. About the Coriolis effect, since the Earth is rotating, the atmospheric circulation patterns are much more complex. The reason for this, the Coriolis effect. The reason for this is a Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect causes anybody that move on the rotating planet to turn to the right in the northern hemisphere and the left to the southern hemisphere. The Coriolis effect causes anybody that move on the rotating planet to the turn to the right clockwise in the northern hemisphere and the left counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. The effect of negligible at the equator and increase both north and south toward the poles. The Coriolis effect occur because the earth rotates out from the under the moving bodies like water, air, even aeroplanes. The Coriolis effect depends on the initial direction of motion and not on the compass direction. If you look along the initial direction of motion, the mass will be deflect toward the right in the northern hemisphere and toward the left in the southern hemisphere. The phenomena of the Coriolis force is known as Farrell's law. Due to this earth rotation, object deflect to the right in the northern hemisphere. Object deflect to the left in the southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere, this was it. This is north hemisphere, this is the south hemisphere. Next are the frictional forces. Friction is the tangential resistance to the motion. The friction force is contact force between the two surfaces that are trying to move relative to each other. Static frictions are moving relative to the each other and kinetic frictions, that is buoyant force. Next, it is the force on object making the object rise or move upward when placed in the fluid. This is was what we're talking about. So fluid is moving upward when places fluid. Good. Calibration of the current meter for used in channel flow measurement is done in a towing tank. The calibration of the current meter for used in a channel flow measurement is done in a towing tank. पढ़ते हैं क्या बीमारी है? Current meter is a mechanical device which is used to measure the velocity of a stream. The stream of velocity at a location of instrument is given by this equation. V is equals to A into Ns plus V. A and B are the constant. Ns is a revolution per second. The above equation is known as calibration equation. It is a unique equation for each instrument and determined by the towing the instrument in a special tank. Such special tanks are known as towing tank. The following figure show horizontal axis type current meter. Hoisting electrical connection. This is propeller. This is sounding bait and fin for stabilization. यहाँ एक नोट दे रखा साउंडिंग वेट इज अटैच टू द करंट मीटर टू रिड्यूस ड्रैग फोर्स एंड इज गिवन बाय W बराबर 50 इंटू V एवरेज इंटू D. B. Average velocity of flow. Sounding wave is n and D is depth of flow. Which of following channels is suitable to used as a water evaporation inhibitors? That is cetyl alcohol. Which of following chemical is suitable to used as a water evaporation inhibitors? By applying thin chemical film on the water surface, the evaporation can be reduced. Currently, application of the chemical over water surface is only feasible method available for the reduction of evaporation for reservoir in moderate extent. Certain chemicals such as cetyl alcohol, hexadecanol, and stearyl alcohol octadecanol form of monomolecular layer on the water surface, and these layers act as evaporation inhibitors by preventing the water molecules to escape past them. The thin film formed has following desirable features. The film is strong and flexible and does not break easily due to wave actions. It is punctured due to the impact of raindrops or birds, insects, etc. The film closed back to the soon after. It is previous to the oxygen and carbon dioxide. The water quality is therefore not affected by its presence. It is colorless, odorless, and non-toxic. Cetyl alcohol is found to be most suitable chemical for use as a evaporation inhibitors. It is white waxy crystalline solid, is available as lumps, flakes, or powders. It can applied to the water surface in the form of powder, emulsions, or solvent in a mineral turpentines. Next आता the relation between probability P and recurrence interval T is given by the PT is equals to 1. Recurrence interval T is recurrence interval if given storm is the time interval during which given storm is likely to be equaled or exceeded. If we say that at a given station the maximum precipitation of 30 cm has a recurrence interval of 8 years, we means that on the stations the charge of the rainfalls are such that once in 8 years the rain is likely to be equal or exceeded. This is done to mean that rain equal to the 30 centimeter or more will occur after every 8 years. It is may occur twice in one set of the 8 years or may not occur in consecutive 12 years or so. The reoccurrence intervals or return periods are defined as the t बराबर 1 by p is equals to pt is equals to 1. Additional information समझे तो probability of non-occurrence of rainfall is 1 minus p is equals to q. Probability of occurrence of rainfall r time in n consecutive years, that is NCR PR 1 minus p की power n minus r. Next, the lysimeter is used to measure. Lysimeter is used to the evapotranspiration. Infiltration, it is the flow of water through the soil surface into the porous medium under gravitational action and pressure effect. The factor influence the infiltrations are the soil type such as texture, structure, hydrodynamic characteristics which is influence the capillary force and adsorptions and the soilish coverage. Evaporation, it is the process in which the liquid change to the gaseous state at the free surface below the boiling point through the transfer of the heat energy. Vapor pressure. Vapor pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the vapor in thermodynamic equilibrium with its condensed phase, solid or liquid, or at a given temperature in a closed system. Evapotranspiration. It is the process by which water leave the body for a living plant and reach the atmospheric water of vapor. A lysimeter is a measuring device which can be used to measure the amount of actual evaporation which released the plant, usually crop or tree, while the recording the amount of precipitation that can receive and amount lost through the soil. The amount of water lost evaporation can be calculated. Lysimeter are two types, baying and non-baying. नेक्स्ट चलते हैं. नेक्स्ट हाईवे के क्वेश्चन आ गए.